Hello, I'm David Groninger in Seattle, Washington. Today is December 6th, 2015, and it's about 10 o'clock at night. I'm going to give a 10-minute message, and the alarm's going to go off in 10 minutes, so I'll quit at that time. I have this idea that I can develop a 10-minute message that can help 10 million people, and I have no idea which message it's going to be. So every day I make a message, and I'm going to do it for the next 3 years, which will make 1,000 messages, one out of which hopefully will help the 10 million people. In fact, I know at least one or more of them will. So when I ask myself the question, well, what can I say in a 10-minute message that just might help 10 million people? Well, today it's a little bit of an expansion of the talk I gave yesterday that was called The Source of Your Resources. You see, in order for our life to work well, we need certain resources. We need things for our body. We need air to breathe. We need water to drink. We need food to eat. In order to manage our life, we need cash flow. We need money. And because of that, we need a job or a work. We need friendship. We need a sense of security, protection. There are certain resources that we need in order for us to be happy or to feel like we're successful. When we identify the source of these resources, then and we manage the source of these resources and manage the entire system or the entire flow from the source all the way down to us of these resources, then our use of these resources. When we can manage this, it makes our lives work better. Look at people who are having any problems in life, particularly chronic problems that are really messing up their life. Usually there's some resource that's missing. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's a good health. Maybe it's wisdom or knowledge. Maybe it's friendship or support. There's something that's missing, usually. So the idea, if you're going to help somebody, is to find out, well, what are the resources they need in your life? The same thing when you're helping yourself. What are the resources, and what is their current source of those resources? And of course, to really master this, you want to develop or identify multiple sources for your resource in case one of the flows gets severed or dries up. You'll need to find out, kind of like when a ship is sinking, it's nice to have a lifeboat. Well, when the source of your resource is no longer there, it's nice to have another flow, another life flow, from the source, from some source that can be of your resource. Well, in this talk, I'm going to talk about your responsibility, the particular role that you can play in managing the source. And you see, a long time ago, it was mankind against nature, or let's say a person against nature, person versus nature. The farmer, he had to work the field. He had to make the ground soft so that things could grow. He had to bring water somehow to make sure it would grow, or find a place that had water. Then he had to make sure he was at a place that had sunlight. In other words, it was people against nature. So anyone who understood the laws of nature, the laws of farming, how things worked in nature, and who was strong enough to work within these laws of nature, that was a successful person. But now it's people. It's people versus people, in a sense. In other words, nature was the source of our resources back when we were farmers or nomads or lived off the land in some way. Well, now we live off of the efforts and cooperation of people. So the source of our resources now are other people. And so now, instead of its understanding and how to work with the laws of nature, to be successful in life, we have to understand the laws of people. It's necessary now to understand a little bit of the subject of human relations, of psychology, of our own psychology. The ability to get along with other people and to build high quality relationships, the ability to understand people, and the ability to understand yourself. Because there are two aspects to managing the source of your resource, because now it's people you have to manage, and that's the ability to manage others or the ability to have a positive relationship, a synergistic relationship, a constructive relation, a win-win relationship with the people who control the source of your needed resources. And you also need a win-win relationship with yourself, because you see, you can have a positive relationship, for example, with your employer, or with the person, your significant other, the person who's the source of your affection or companionship. You can have a positive relationship with this person and with your employer. So yes, you'll get a cash flow, and here you'll get affection. However, if you do not have a positive relationship with yourself, then you can actually block the flow of these things. Even though you have people willing to send them your way, you can, because you might not feel deserving of something good, or because you might be doing something that just somehow hinders your ability to be gratified or satisfied, or to be grateful for these, for having a good life and for having things like this. If you're somehow down on yourself, or you've somehow picked up, mental ideas or programs from other people that you are somehow undeserving of these things, then this can be a hindrance of the flow. So when I say manage the source of your resource, there's and what's the role you play? A part of the role you play is in your management of yourself, because you as a person, if you are very, very well deserving of of an affluent kind of a life that flows well for you, if you feel you're deserving of that, it's going to be easy to accept it, and very easy to continue a positive relationship with the people who are the source, or who control the source of your resource. So the science of self-development, self-awareness, self-education, self-growth, these things are very, very key to the role you play in managing the source of your resource. Because you, in the way you see life, your paradigms, your perceptions, your point of view, this is fundamental to your ability to handle and understand, or even identify, the people who are connected to or control the source of your resources. So what is your role in managing the source of your resources? Your role is to understand yourself and to have a positive relationship with yourself, and it is to have a positive relationship with the people who control the source. And so it goes like this. It's like a little strategy that I kind of put together, and I'm sure it's not original. Many people have thought the same thing, and I'm sure you probably have too. It's simply that we all need resources. When we're having problems in life, identify the resources and find out which one maybe we have too much of, or which one we're not getting enough of, and that's where to start helping your life or helping somebody else. Then you identify what are the sources of our resources, and learn about these sources so you can manage the whole flow from the source, into your life. And then remember that a part of your successful management of this source is people skills, because it's people who control these resources, and people skills relate to you and me and myself, because you are a people. You are a person too. Understanding yourself. Do you have self-sabotage tendencies? Are you doing things that are holding you back? Are you living your life based on what other people have told you that's maybe limiting in some way, and you've believed them? However it might be, just keep in mind the field of self-development, self-growth. This is a very empowering thing, and it will help you build the skills in managing yourself so that you can better manage or build relationships with the people who manage the sources of your resource, so that you can have a lifetime, continual, ongoing supply of the resources that you need, so that you can use these resources freely and abundantly in doing whatever you want to be doing in your life. So that's the talk for the day. And what do you know? the 10-minute mark? Well, as I say, each day I ask myself, okay, what's a message I could give today, a 10-minute message that might help 10 million people? And then I write down what answers there might be. Today's answer was merely, what is the role that you play in managing successfully the source of your resources? And the role you play is in managing yourself and in building people skills. And so this is David Groninger in Seattle, Washington, saying thank you very, very much for taking the time to listen to my message. I'm training myself to be a speaker. I repeat myself too many times. I stutter and fumble with words, and sometimes I'm too wordy and sound a little bit confusing. But I do try to come up with messages that have a valuable content. So even though my delivery may be a little bit weak, or and the way that I use the camera, the background, the way that I stand, anything like this, try to ignore the delivery of this message and try to pay attention to the quality of its content and to see what value that the content might have for you. Bit by bit, I'll get better at the delivery, and I'll get better at finding better and better messages. So this is David Groninger in Seattle, Washington, saying thank you.